So another advantage to this crop.
It looked like there was nowhere near tasseling, but there is a tassel in there. All the agronomists say that
the second batch caught up. I mean, look at this, just this sea of corn.
Doing an update. We got a good batch of rain yesterday, about 3/4 of an inch. Corn's looking good. The corn is ankle high. We're at stage V1, 2, 3, 4, and V5 coming out. This is the replant that we did just a couple weeks ago. As you can see, it's coming in really good back there and thick. You can see some of the corn that didn't get chewed up by the tiller when we went through. We saved some of that. We got some volunteer corn in the beans. The beans are looking good. They're coming up. Now these were the original plant date of about May 15th. So they're looking pretty good. But you can look down there and see the rows and everything's looking real good. So, all right, we'll check back in on some other stuff. All right, just a little check in here. We got some beans right up here by the house. We're literally 20 yards from the house and you can see the browse pressure going on right there. So at night, and I've caught them when I get up in the morning, deer are right up here by the yard chewing on these beans, but we're already in our 3rd, 4th, and starting some 5th trifoliate. So it's all looking real good, coming in nice and thick. Those are about maybe 15 inches tall, coming up on 18 inches tall. Real good. Starting to choke out the weeds. Even though we didn't get a good spray, you can see we're only 20 yards from the house. That one ain't going nowhere. All right, being allergic to bees, I'm not a big fan, but it is amazing the amount of pollinators that are in here. Basically, it looks more like bumblebees and honeybees that are just all over this buckwheat. I mean, you can just hear them buzzing. It's like everywhere you look, something's moving. I'm telling you, every 10th one of these has a bee on it. Just another thing, another to add on. Today's the day after first day of summer. It's hot. It is hot. So it's June 22nd. We sprayed yesterday. Sprayed the corn and beans. A little bit of a grass looking problem right here along the wood edge. Made that cocktail maybe just a little bit. We didn't go hot, but I gave it an extra 1/2 quart of Gly and 1/2 quart of 2,4-D per acre. Try to knock these back here before they ruin this edge. The center of the field looks pretty darn good. So our corn replant's looking good. You can see the ones that made it through the tilling. That one right there got a big stalk compared to the other ones, but you can see them are above my boot. So we're looking good. Probably gonna come back and just before the next rain, overseed again into the little pockets that are thin on this buckwheat. But I mean, it's got a flower. It won't be too much longer and it's gonna have seeds on it. So at that point, if it makes a seed, there ain't no sense in overseeding. Once it's got a seed head, you can turn this in and it'll sprout right back up again. So you can turn in that organic matter, sprout it up again, and double crop it if you want before. And if you catch the second crop before it makes seeds, then you don't have to worry about it popping up in your fall plot. Sunday, June 26th, I believe. We were supposed to get a little bit of rain this weekend. Weatherman said 1/4 to 1/2 inch between 10 and 2 today. About 6 o'clock this morning, she overperformed. We've gotten an inch. It's 10:30. So the rain's coming back in while we're trying to overseed some thin spots. That corn would be good if it just gets some rain. You can see the yellow tips on the corn. It was starving for water, definitely starving for water. Got a thin spot of corn over there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some Milo in just to fill in the buffer, keep the weed competition down. So I'm pretty confident with our last spraying. A couple little spots maybe got missed, but I think the beans are gonna overtake the weeds now. Our replanted corn looks phenomenal with this rain. Hopefully that'll help canopy over. That'll take care of the weeds. I don't think we're gonna be spraying again this year.
I don't think we're going to have a problem. We're kind of in that home stretch with the corn and beans that pretty much after today, and the buckwheat, after today, we're done fooling with it. We're just going to have to let Mother Nature run its course at this point. Like I said, I mean, you can see that's filling in thick now. So maybe a little too thick, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't want to pull an old man mealy and go out there and pluck one by one any weeds or anything like that. So we're just going to run it out. This buckwheat field's looking pretty good. Not much to do with it. A little bit of grasses in some spot, but the buckwheat did its job. Really did its job. Didn't have to do hardly anything with it or worry about it. I see a big weed out there. Maybe I will be a crabby old bugger and go out there and pluck it and complain about America. So now big shout out. I like Don Mealy. He got a lot of good ideas. He's a pretty good guy. Learned a lot of stuff off of him and his channel for a while, so we'll see. The one thing he preaches is get out there and work, and I believe in that too. You don't put the effort in, you're not going to get a result. So you want to just throw seed on the ground and pray for the best, then that's what you're going to get. You're just going to pray for the best. So you got to work it constantly. You got to come out in the rain and spot seed your weak spots and keep after it. And that's the only way to truly get a beautiful stand come fall. And even then, you're still at the mercy of Mother Nature. Had she not rained today at all, things were tough. I mean, USDA soil monitor said we're in a moderate drought condition, but they also said the root zone moisture was good. So we still had, that's why my corn hadn't curled yet. That's when it kind of just shrivels up and points all straight up to the sky to suck as much dew in the morning down into its throat, so to speak, down through them collars. But we weren't shriveled. So they were right. There was still moisture in the root zone as long as your roots were down in touching it. So I've seen some late planted corn rock shelf going up and down around here. And I got some spots that the corn isn't performing well without rain. It just can't eat no matter what because the rock's coming up. And that's kind of what I've been learning here lately, is how different your field can be from one field to the next and from 100 feet to the next. And you just got to work around those conditions or just live with them and go that route. Know your land, do the best you can, and then here we go. So with that corn replant, man, that is awesome. That is honestly right here, this is knee high. Knee high is pretty good. Let's see if I can prove it so nobody tries calling me out. That's it right there. So knee high-ish. It's not even 4th of July. So we're recovering well from our early setback. We're recovering now. So, all right, morning everybody. It's June 27th, fresh week. It's Monday. I was out doing a morning survey of the property, taking Riddick for his morning ride, tucking him out a little bit, and I happened to notice the sorghum right there is popping a head. You see that sorghum head right there? So this is that browse release. I don't know if I'm going to let that stand or if I'm just going to go ahead and till it under. Probably till it under. It's looking good. I'll let the deer eat on it for a little bit. It's mature enough. We'll see. They just ain't hitting this like I had hoped they would for the summer. So let's take a look at that. It's good, but it's got a lot of weeds in it. And I hate weeds. I really hate weeds. So didn't quite do what I wanted, but every once in a while you got to try a little something different. Once in a while. See how it goes. You win some, you lose some. So it's not bad. I mean, I guess if you're just going to be the throw and grow guy, once you get it going, this isn't a bad thing. Got a lot of good stuff in there, but like I said, I don't like weeds, and it just doesn't cover enough to keep the weeds out. I like a nice, good looking plot I can be proud of and get there. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. It'll chew up good, and it'll feed that fall plot real good. So let's go check around the farm today and see what all we can find. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let me know who's better, me or Kapper. So here's that interior bedding plot we converted. It used to be a food plot when I just owned this side of the property. And really, we planted it a week ago. We planted it a week ago, I believe. So I see a little bit of germination out there. I'm not going to track out across it because it's muddy, and I don't like tearing up food plots unnecessarily. But I think you can see there's deer tracks in there. There's stuff germinating. You can see a little bit of green going on out there. Just getting started, but just thought I'd get in and get a checkup for an update. Looks like some of the small seeds sprouted, but this should look good in about 3 days. That moisture should have wet everything. I mean, I don't think it shows up on camera, but I can see a lot of little things just barely poking out of the ground right now. So, but again, this isn't going to be a food plot. This is a bedding food plot with a little bit of food component to it, just to try to hold them up during deer season in the center, and just give them something to mill around on. I kind of made my own little blend up with some leftovers, seed from last year, this year, whatever I found. Just kind of threw a bunch of stuff in the pot, things that I thought would give them cover. The quail can get in here, the turkey can get in here, and do some bugging. So it should be a good overall plot for all the wildlife. But we'll see how it turns out by the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to come back in and till it again, although this is about the easiest plot to till. It's been turned under so many times. It's like butter. This is, you'd make if you wanted to make a commercial for a tiller, this would be the plot. So do a little bit of trail trimming. Got this idea off some ding dong on YouTube was doing it. Figured, how hard could it be? All right, buckwheat has, make sure I don't get stung, has made seeds. So we could turn this under now, and it would actually propagate a new batch of buckwheat, granted enough moisture. But as you can see, the corn is curling. This is up right up against the wood line, and you can see the older corn, how well it's doing, because its roots are down in the moisture. But this, they got dry roots right here. So we need a lot more rain than what we've had. All right, we just changed out the SD card as per Pacticam technical support. Talked to them last week. They're very specific about the cards you need to use. You got to use a U3. I did not know. Makes a huge difference, she said, so I just changed them out. We'll see. Here's another good example. You can see that was from the first plant. Look at how fat that stalk is down there. Now these are just about chest high. They're definitely better than knee high, but everything is curling. We need rain of biblical proportion. Bad. The beans are doing pretty good. Some of them are nipped off, some of them are just dry. So I've got some that look better than this. Just need some rain. Decide what we want to do with that buckwheat. Look at the weather forecast. I got a lot of client ground to do. Client property looks pretty much the same. They're starving for water. So beans are good though. Just need some more rain. All right, I went to pull this out so that I could get a better look at, you can see the buckwheat seeds on there. All kinds. I mean, there's probably a dozen at least seeds from this one stem. But I went to pull it out, and look at what it did. It just came right on out, not down very deep. Got lots of root fibers in there, but that's how dry it is. It just popped right out of the ground. All right, that screen of sorghum's coming in real good. We blocked off that opening that was in there. It's nice and thick. It's getting tall. Not much more I can do. I can't fertilize it at this point. If you haven't noticed, the key theme here is we need rain. We need rain. Been 14, 15, 16 days
since I planted this, I've made up my own little mix, trying to make a kind of like a browse bedding cover right here. It's coming in pretty good.
We got buckwheat, we got milo or sorghum, we got clovers, we got radishes, we got a lot of good stuff in here. I just kind of threw this together just to see, but it's starting to come up. We've had 2 rains, we've had 1.5 inches of rain. I think it'll do good if we can just get more rain. Met a guy today and he asked me if I'd been seeing the same thing of deer moving during the middle of the day. I think they're in just trying to get as much moisture out of whatever fresh greenery they can get a hold of, because we're in drought. Drought monitor says it now. We're officially in a hardcore drought. We're in moderate drought. It's dry. All right, July 7th, sweating already at 8 a.m. To test my theory that I got a rock shelf issue, I decided to put a little bit of water here from the yard on this one little spot that's right up by it. As you can tell, it's a little shorter, but we're gonna see if we just give it a little extra water. We actually got some rain coming, possibly tonight, possibly tomorrow. Can't trust the weatherman. I mean, he is trying to predict the future. So we're gonna give it a little shot of water this morning. Not too much, just enough. It's mow day, so I gotta get the hose up anyway. So we're gonna check and see what this does. Stay after this for a couple of weeks and see if that corn will catch up. As we're getting on to all the other projects, we got to start working client property dirt up and getting it ready. Probably a good chance we might disc under the buckwheat and let it, because it's got seed head, so we want to let it go ahead and regerminate all of that seed prior to putting in our fall plots. Video nonstop. All right, Kapper Nation. I'm gonna go ahead and try to till in some of this buckwheat and see how that turns out. Thought about bush hogging it first, but I think I'll go ahead and see if I can save a step. If not, I can go throw the bush hog back on. I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't need no $12,000 crimper to terminate that buckwheat. That's working about as well as it could be. If you was doing a no-till, I mean, yeah, it scratches the dirt a little bit. But if you was doing a no-till, you come right back and spread your seed right over the top of that, and the next good rain, everything's gonna come on up. That's not what I'm gonna do, but I'm telling you, that terminates that buckwheat pretty good. I'm gonna make a few passes, kind of get that seed off of that buckwheat, push it down into the ground. That way, if we ever get rain again, I ain't got none forecasting for quite a while, that seed will just germinate, because it's already going to have seed to soil contact, got a good mat. Kicked a doe and a fawn. Couldn't get the fawn on film, but all right, so we made one pass. I'd really like to go perpendicular to my other pass. This plot just doesn't lay out very well to do that. It's too short. It'd be a lot more effort. So we're just going to go opposite direction that we went the first time and see if we can't turn this in a little better. But man, they did a good job. I don't know how many loads of cow manure it'd take to get that kind of organic matter turned into this ground in such a short time, and how much work it would take, and it would stink this time of year. So looks good. We'll check back in. There's some grass in there. I don't know if I'm gonna have to come back and spray this or not. I'm hoping when I till it, I bury some more of that, kind of knock that back, and then the new buckwheat will take off. But getting excited. It looks like a real plot now as compared to last year. This is that small expanded plot. So, but now it's starting to look like a real plot with some green on top of it. Getting excited now. Look at how tall that corn is. I'm sitting in the tractor. A couple of them's from the original. She's thick. I gotta get her sprayed. I gotta get some micronutrients on it, but it unfolded.
It was all curled up while it was waiting for some rain. That last little rain we had really helped uncurl it. Now I got to get some little extra fertilizer. And oh, look at there, look at there, look at there. We got the start of an ear of corn. Kapper, can you identify what those things are on that stalk? Out on a client property, we're using Earl, Kubota, spreading some lime. Best part about the open tractor, you stop and pick up lunch. Fresh blackberries. All right, everybody, me and Riddick, he's wide awake. We're out here knocking down some buckwheat. This is in that big reclaimed field. It's a little rough in there. Want to spray it, but I'm gonna spray it with the crop duster. Y'all will get to see that later. But I want to knock down so I don't have any surprises when I got this boom way up in the air with a bunch of weight hanging on it. I want to take a chance of tipping the tractor over until I get used to this feeling. So I started knocking it down. That's what it is. It's about, oh, it's waist high to chest high. A little hard to see, and I ain't getting out. It's hot out. It's 93 degrees. Got about a 100-degree index. I mean, it's humid. About 2:30 in the afternoon, and there's water on the tires of the tractor. All that buckwheat's got so much water in it that we're tilling in that it's making the tires wet. But we're getting her turned down. So another advantage to this crop dusting, I didn't think I could get to any of that plot screen towards the middle of it. Well, yes I can. Get over and I can shoot right up over the top of it. I can get up there at about 8.5 feet. Spray it down. Get it. We got that rain coming tomorrow. So trying to get everything a good shot so when it gets that moisture it just can take off. Alright, we're down at a client's property. We got about 2 inches of rain last night. Need to crank this up, open up this dirt. It's an old field, so we're going to plant it in clover this fall. It's been dry and the ground's been hard. We got that rain and it's tilling up pretty good. Just trying to get it open, get some big clods so when we come back in August we can hit it with the tiller real quick, real fast, and just knock it down nice and smooth, and then we can get that clover put down on it. So we don't want to diss this too much and make it too smooth, because then it could get a couple of rains and then settle back down in hard pan, and then it makes it harder to till it up again. I want them clods up there so I can come and hit them with them and they'll just disintegrate and give us a nice seed bed. We just need 2 to 4 inches to get that seed in. It's looking pretty good. All right, this is that driveway plot. We featured about the nitrogen fixing and everything else. It's time to bush hog this and turn it under. There's a ton, see if I can zoom in it. See them black spots? That's on the buckwheat. That's a ton of buckwheat seed. So I definitely need to get this turned in, hope for a little bit of rain, and let it sprout before we turn it under again for the full fall plot. So you can see when you get 2 inches of rain in a day with big downpours, you can see when you plant on a hill where all your moisture goes. So there's a good chance we didn't get more than a ½ inch that actually soaked in. I mean, we'll take it, but you can just see what happens. It all goes to the bottom. This is 3 days later, and it's still wet and muddy down here at the bottom, and I'm sure it's drying out at the top. Morning, everybody. July 20th, 73 days till deer season. I'm gonna give you an update of what's been going on the last couple of weeks. I've been pretty busy working on client property, getting that all prepared for the fall seed beds that are going in. They're prepped. So all I gotta do is give them one last tilling and plant them. Gotta be watching our moisture. All right, well, I'm real happy with this, that the beans did not burn. They're doing real good. The beans are about almost knee-high, not quite, but they're good and thick. They're holding moisture. Corn's looking good. Corn is 5-6 feet tall. So I'm 6 foot tall. This is head level for me. So they're right in there. Corn that made it through the tilling is tasseled. Let's see if we can find some. Try not to glare you too bad. It's hot. All I want to do is get back in out of the heat and the humidity. So there's one right there. It's tasseled, it's silt. It hasn't reached the brown phase, but it looks like it's trying to build the ear, pollinate the kernels, and go from there. We're gonna do a test here and see how far we are from tassel on the rest of this. We snapped off a stalk at the last full collar, and they say every leaf is 2 days to tassel. So let's see if there's a tassel in there. We'll pull it apart and get back. So I'd never done this before. I just was doing some research, trying to figure things out. And it looked like there was nowhere near tasseling, but there is a tassel in there. All the agronomists say that 2 days for every leaf. Now I don't remember if the first one counted or not, but we're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 days. We're 2 weeks from tassel on that other corn, and that time, that's about right. It's a month behind the rest of it. So we definitely want to give it another shot of that fertilizer with the crop duster here in the next 2 weeks, because it's going to start the opening stages of that ear development. So we want to take a look at that, but that's where we're at. That booger was tucked down in there. I was starting to get nervous that maybe there wasn't even a tassel in there yet, and I was going to look silly, but that's the way it is. So we disked all that buckwheat in, and lo and behold, what do we have there? Buckwheat sprouting back up. I was starting to wonder if maybe I jumped the gun on it and should have let it go just a little bit longer, but it's coming up. We got a blind over there with our other plot. Jeff Sturgis says wherever you find balloons, that's where bucks like to bed. And I just found one right here, this close, right in the beans in the corn. Oh, that buck's on the move. Let's hope that's a good sign for the fall. What is it? Magic? Yeah, he's not real happy.
All right, I mean, you can see this stuff here is all my height. 6'5", maybe even taller. The stuff that's tasseling there is the first stuff that survived.
All right, everybody, that's going to be our vlog for the day, or for this segment, I should say. Next couple of weeks.
The second batch caught up. I mean, look at this, just this sea of corn.
Now that all the ground's been worked up for food plots, going to get in and do a little bit of work in the woods if it's not too hot, or just work a couple hours. Sweat's dripping off me already. A couple hours in the morning. Need to drop some trees, so we got some tree tops for side cover for bedding for the deer this fall.
Fingers crossed that the deer can't devour that much, and we might actually have corn this year, but it looks...
Do it this time of year so it's got leaves on it, give them good cover. So Riddick don't like being left behind. So, all right, remember, like, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, make a comment, let us know how you like it, and share it on Facebook with your friends, and we'll check back in with you in a few weeks. All right, peace out.
Really, really good. Happy Friday. I'm gonna turn the radio on right now. It's Friday night, and we'll see if maybe this year is our year. Stay tuned.